Good afternoon. My name is Alina Shevtsova. I'm an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. In today's Legally Speaking seminar, I would like to talk to you about asylum and travel. Can you, as an applicant for asylum, travel while your application is pending? What are the consequences? What do you need to do to travel? And if your dependents, people who are listed in your asylum claim, can travel or not. So first of all, generally speaking, a person who is filing for asylum in the United States cannot leave the United States without abandoning their application for asylum. Meaning that if you filed for asylum and waiting for your interview, and here we're talking only about those who are not in removal proceedings, you cannot leave the United States without an advance parole permission to travel. If you leave the United States without it, application for asylum should be deemed abandoned. It's very important to know that because many will face a need to travel, and if they do not know about this rule, if they leave the United States and even if they admitted back to the United States, the application for asylum technically was abandoned when they left the country without advance parole. How to obtain advance parole and what is advance parole? Advance parole is the in advance permission for you to enter the United States after you leave the United States. To file for it, you will need to submit an application on Form I-131, and there is a fee associated with the application. You can check current fees online at uscis.gov. What reasons would be good reasons for you to travel? Because the idea of asylum is that you are asking the United States to keep you safe here. So why do you need to go outside of the United States? Well, usually people ask for advance parole only when they face really difficult circumstances. For example, they need to see a relative who is in a very bad condition. They have to themselves seek medical treatment. Perhaps it's not available or for them not affordable in the United States. Maybe they have to meet somebody very important for them outside of the United States. So that's why people will seek permission to travel while the application is pending. Again, only they can do it when they're not in removal proceedings, meaning they're waiting, they filed an affirmative asylum claim and they're waiting for their interview. Filed for advance parole and they have to wait for its results, wait until the advance parole is granted to leave the United States. Now, can you go to your home country? Let's say you got the advance parole and your family member is very sick. Can you go to your home country? The idea of asylum again is that your home country is not safe for you. You will be hurt there, right? That's why usually in 99% of cases, travel to your home country will mean that your asylum claim is very, very weak and it probably will be denied. In fact, there is a question like that on the application form. After you left the country from which you are seeking asylum, have you returned to that country, right? So why there is a question like that? Because it will defeat most likely your asylum claim if you have. So, however, the law does allow for very narrow exceptions to this general rule. But I submit to you that only very, very few people will be able to qualify for those exceptions. And when the time comes, will be able to withstand the challenge to the asylum claim. So the best advice any lawyer will give you is not to go back to your home country. All right, what if you are the principal applicant on your asylum claim and you have a child who is, for example, who can travel now by herself or by himself? Can they go to your home country? Well, again, the idea is that it's not safe for you, for your children, or for any family members in your home country. So if your child or spouse who is with you in the United States waiting for asylum now travels and safely returns to that country, then probably your asylum claim is very weak. That's how the United States officers and judges will look at your claim. So any lawyer would probably advise not to travel, not for you, not for your family members. There is a reason for it, right? Even though I understand that there can be circumstances when you have to go because somebody is sick, somebody is in a very bad health situation, but the law will look at it differently than people in regular life. What about dependents who are not from your home country and who would like to go to their home country? For example, a person from Russia is married to a person from Australia, right? Russian person filed for asylum. Australian spouse is listed as a dependent on that application. Also has to travel with advance parole, but now can the Australian go to Australia? Yes, generally speaking, it's been safe and did not present a problem because Australian person is not claiming any persecution from Australia. It's actually Russian person claiming persecution from Russia and would like to stay safe in the United States. Who cannot get advance parole? Persons who are in removal proceedings generally cannot obtain advance parole. So after the denial or referral of your claim after the asylum interview, when you transfer to court, you cannot obtain advance parole anymore. You have to remain in the United States. What about people who do not have initial legal entry, right? They cross the border, now they filed for asylum and they're actually waiting for the asylum. Can they travel? Yes, they can with advance parole. The same rules will be applied to them as to everyone else. And will they be the question will, what if that person later would like to change their application for relief, or how they would like to get status in the United States to something else? Let's say they're married to a US citizen. Can they use that advance parole entry for adjustment of status purposes, for example? In my view, they can. That's what the law says, that they can. I know recently there have been trends when USCIS issued regulations, how they construe, how they interpret the regulations, saying that if a person on TPS traveled with advance parole, it didn't change their situations, but I believe that will be changed by courts because it did change. A person was paroled, and we cannot just close our eyes and say that the person was not paroled. So if a person who had a pending asylum claim, again, we're talking about people before they were transferred to court, traveled on advance parole, got back into the United States, they should be able to use that entry, that parole, for adjustment of status purposes. So I hope this helps to understand the issues of traveling on advance parole and traveling while your application is pending. Now, one very important note. I personally do not know anyone who has ever been denied entry when they traveled with advance parole. But the law says that you can be denied. So any travel outside of the United States may come with the risk of not being allowed back. So you need to know about that and really think if it's important for you to travel, if it's really something that you cannot go without, if it's really urgent and things like that. And I have actually on my website articles about how to receive advance parole when there is an urgency, because there are two different procedures of how you can obtain one. One is a regular procedure and one is an urgent procedure when you can just show up at USCIS local office. Now you have to have an appointment in advance before you could walk in and ask for an urgent permission to travel if you can prove that your circumstances are very urgent. Okay, and you can read more about various immigration issues related to asylum and more on our website, www.shaltsova.com.